I have a severely long laundry list of food allergies, but the only one I was ever anaphylactic to was strawberries. Until 3 days ago when I discovered I'm not allergic anymore. Let's talk about anaphylaxis, the presentation, the pathology, and the treatment. By definition, anaphylaxis is a multi-system reaction to an antigen, specifically two or more body systems. A common misconception with anaphylaxis is that it has to be a certain set of symptoms. It has to be this specific symptom that's being presented, such as urticaria or hives. It has to have wheezing. It has to have hypotension. It has to have all of this stuff, right? Truly, it doesn't. Now, in the presence of hypotension, that's when you get anaphylactic shock, but anaphylaxis in general is just two or more body systems being affected and presenting as symptoms. This could mean urticaria, hives, GI upset, nausea, diarrhea, just having a stomach ache. It could have wheezing or respiratory compromise, a hoarse voice, or angioedema. Specifically, if you have two or more of these symptoms, the top three being the swelling, the angioedema, the respiratory compromise, so wheezing, and the hypotension, you are in anaphylaxis. I was listening to MCHD this morning. If you don't know who MCHD is, it's Montgomery County Hospital District EMS system. They have their own podcast. It's absolutely amazing. You need to go watch it. Was listening to their Myths of Anaphylaxis video this morning, and they linked an article coming out of the UK, and it said something really interesting. If you have a food antigen that is causing anaphylaxis, GI upset, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, just a stomach ache in general, if that is alone present, it's not considered anaphylaxis. And that makes sense because it's a localized system. But if you have everything else, such as the wheezing, the urticaria, the hoarse voice, and the swelling, now you're in anaphylaxis, okay? A lot of the things they talked about in this video was don't just be misconstrued by having certain symptoms. So a lot of people associate anaphylaxis with, oh my gosh, they're so swollen. They have wheezing. They have all of these hives all over you. Not every single anaphylaxis reaction is going to have a certain set of symptoms. Everyone's going to be different. We should know this by now. No two bodies are going to react alike. Another common misconception about anaphylaxis, and this is the whole reason I was listening to this podcast this morning, every single EMS provider is taught that anaphylaxis is rapid and fatal. But truly, the only thing that makes it fatal, according to studies, is the lack of identification and treatment. Now, we obviously know the triad of treatments when it comes to anaphylaxis, right? We give epi, Benadryl, and a steroid. Most of the time, also oxygen. But a lot of people delay the administration of epinephrine, even though that's technically the first-line drug. Benadryl is the third-line drug, according to every single study and current protocols that I read. And then they think that, oh, well, if I give Benadryl, it'll stop all the rest of them. It'll delay everything else. I won't have to give epinephrine. When in reality, the whole pathology of anaphylaxis is it's releasing certain things. Yes, it's releasing histamine, but it's also releasing other things that are not going to be affected by that Benadryl. It's only going to be affected by epi. And actually, epi is going to delay the release of the histamines and another histamine that I do not remember the name of. I'm going to put it above my head. That is not affected by Benadryl at all. So epinephrine is the first line. But because a lot of people are scared, I'm not saying just EMS providers. The studies I was reading and what MCHD was talking about was it's also ER physicians, ER staff, everybody else. They're all so scared to give epinephrine, even though the 0.3 milligrams that we're going to be giving with an allergic reaction is not going to be harmful with like cardiac effects and all that stuff. It's going to be more harmful if we don't give it. Another thing that I truly did not think about when thinking about anaphylaxis, allergic reactions and stuff, and it's what MCHD was talking about, and it's in the Myths of Anaphylaxis article that I was reading, is a lot of people think, oh, it's not anaphylaxis because we don't know what the antigen is. We don't know what the allergen is. The patient doesn't know that they're allergic to anything, yet they're presenting with all of these anaphylactic symptoms. So they kind of like, in their mind, automatically assume this is not anaphylaxis because they're not allergic to anything. Well, what if they got bit by a bug and they don't know they got bit by a bug, but they're allergic to that bug? They've never been bit by the bug before though, so how are they supposed to know they're allergic? They ate a meal at a restaurant, they didn't know they were allergic to a certain food, and now they're having an anaphylactic reaction. There's not always going to be a cause to the anaphylaxis that you know of, that the patient knows of. But if they're presenting, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, you treat it like a duck. So most people know this, I've mentioned this before, I have celiac disease, and that is the allergy to gluten. When I was a baby, we did not know that. I was not diagnosed until I was almost 2 years old. My body was just reacting to everything. Every single food that I put in my body, it would freak out. But strawberries was anaphylactic. Nothing else was. We thought this was genetic because my grandpa is allergic to strawberries. So for 23 years, I just stayed away from strawberries because my grandpa, he's severe. He can't even be in the room when strawberries are present. But I've kind of tested the waters the past 2 to 3 years. Like, I've eaten everything strawberry flavored. I've drank smoothies and stuff with strawberries in them, but I've never actually eaten a strawberry. And the other day we were walking around Sam's Club and I'm like, these smell way too good. I think I'm not allergic anymore. I've grown out of it. Let's try it. So every 30 minutes, I ate little pieces until I just built the tolerance to eat a whole strawberry, and I don't have any reaction. So I was either never allergic in the first place and my body was just in total freak out mode, or I grew out of it. Either way, I'm not allergic anymore. World's Okayest Medic podcast said it best: there are truly very little things that we can treat in the field and have an immediate positive outcome, but allergic reactions and anaphylaxis is one of those things. Tell me what you're allergic to in the comments and how you discovered you were allergic to it, and have a good shift.